My name is Chintu Sharma. Roll number 22951A3318. Department CSIT A section. Subject Python. Topic the Tinker GUI library. GUI program. Moving on to next slide. Where our this is our table of content. Where firstly I introduce with Tinker and then widgets. Then say thirdly basic widgets. Fourth, top level widgets, geometry management, binding functional, and working with images in Tinker. Tinker Advanced, and finally applications and projects. We have interesting applications and projects in this tutorial, in this presentation. What are widgets? And widgets are elements of GUI applications which provide a various control as a level, buttons, combo boxes, check buttons, menu bars, and radio buttons, and many more to user to interact with our applications. So moving on to next slide, fundamental structure to the Tinker program. We have a flowchart. Uh, Importing the Tinker, we need to in our application uh, we need to make our application simple application importing a Tinker module. Then we need to create main windows for the app, then adding widgets on the top of app, and then finally enter the main loop. Moving on to next slide. So these are the list of all the widgets and its description. And label has it's used to display text or images on the screen. Button, it is used to add buttons to your applications. Canvas is used to draw pictures and other layouts like text, graphics, etc. So canvas is we can make a GUI graphical applications like importing a turtle. Next, moving on to next widget combo box. It contains a down arrow to select from a list of available options. Checkbox. It display a number of options to the user. To toggle button from the user can select any number of options. So moving on to next widget radio button. It is used to implement one of the many selection as as it is only a one option to be selected, either true or false frame. It is used to contain other widgets inside it. Very useful. Messages are some of the when we wanted to get pop-up messages from our application, we use messages scale. So if our application has has some measurements to be done, then a scale very is very helpful. Next is scroll bar. If we have many on our application, we have much matter, so we can use a scroll bar. So we can slide in x-axis and y-axis. Spin box. It is it allows user to select from the given set of values. And text, it allows the user to edit multi-line text format the way it has been displayed. Then finally, the menu creates all the kinds of menu used by an application. Moving on to the next slide, it is the first our first programmer to the Tinker from a import. We need to import Tinker, and we can directly use a Tinker library as we are giving asterisk from that. Then from a tinker.tk import all write a code needed to be create main windows of the application. Here the root is equal to tk is our window object, and then this is the type. This is the way we pass a title to the application. Then label, we can see here hello world. The label widget is used to pack and get and dot pack is the geometric geometric management tool widget method. Calling main loop method, which is used when application is ready to run, and it tells the code to displaying root main loop. Moving on to next slide. Top level widget. Tinker uses an object oriented approach to make a GUI. Object oriented programming helps our code to be very, we can repeatedly organize and manage our code very easily using object oriented programming. We can also make multiple top level widgets. Top level widgets, we have an example of top level widgets are, here is a window on top of our root window. We can see a top level widget. So from Tinker import, we have imported all, and then root is equal to tk, root is equal to geometric of our window. It is 200 into 300. uh, Root dot title is our to give our main function title of the window. This is the top level widgets, which we can see a small box, then a geometric of the our small window, top level widget, then a title of our small top level widget, then finally the top level widgets has text. So I dot pack helps if here the code is defined, but here the geometric management on the screen is done using pack function. Next, moving on to the next slide. Geometric, our main topic, geometric management in a Tinker. Moving on to next slide. Python place method in Tinker. Place geometric management is simple. Of the three general geometric manager provided in Tinker, it allows explicitly set a position and size of the window. It's has it we can use it using placeholder, using pack and a grid. These are there are three functions for in the geometric management of the widgets. Or so pack method, tinker method, pack method, place method, and grid method are geometric manager. Here is the syntax of a place function. Here we need to declare our widget, then place. These are the parameters which are passed to the pack place function, which helps it to mm, helps the widget to place properly on the application. Moving on to our next slide, place method in Tinker. Master is equal to tk. Then master, here we have two buttons and a label widget, and having a uh, title of the window as a tk. So label master text is equal to I am a label, placeholder anchor is equal to nw, button is equal to master. So here the master is our main window, root window. Place relax rel x. Here we are giving our x value to the place value method. Then relay 0.5 anchor is equal to center. We need the button to be center. Then finally the main loop, which keeps our program appearing to us, either or else our application get quickly closed. Moving on to next slide. Pack method with place method from Thinker import all, and here we are using a TTK. TTK is also an important component in from Tinker library. The here the root of our root window is declared master.geometry 200 into 200. Here the dimension of our window is given. So button, here is a click button. We can use a pack method with a place method easily. So we can use a place method with the pack method and also with grid method. So moving on to next slide. Python grid method. Grid method is important concept in Tinker library. It helps the It helps the widgets to be arranged in a proper grids. Grid system. We can see the clearly the grid system is used to arrange the widgets onto the application. Moving on to next slide. Examples of the grid method. Here, Tinker imports all the again imports required libraries. Then master is equal to tk. L1 is equal to label. Here the one label first, then second label, then two input boxes. Input boxes are entry. We call entry widget. So we need to pack it on the main master window. So we have declared a master in E1, and using grid method, we are packing the our widget onto our grid system. So moving on to the next slide. Here the grid method is the row is parameters. We can directly declare parameters, and it's clear to declare parameters is equal to and value. We can see here row is equal to 0 is declared directly, and column we can also declare 0 1 2, but it's clear. Moving on, and main loop keeps our application running. Moving on to next slide. Pack Python pack method in a Tinker. Pack method helps our widgets to be packed on our application. When we resize our application, the pack method resize our try to fit our widgets to the screen aspect ratio. Moving on to next slide. Example of pack method. Here one master is equal to tk, pane is equal to, here the we have a frame which contains two label, two buttons, which is packed on a frame. Frame is a widget which pack we can pack. It contains other widgets. Moving on to next slide. For so when we need to sometimes remove our widget on the screen, so forget under pass and forget under grid methods are used in a Tinker. From the Tinker import, we have imported a required library, and then our root widget, root root windows. Then def forget is a function moving it with, so here the widget argument is directly used in the function. Moving on to our next slide. The method is make a widget visible. Def retrieve window that pack, it is a function part of the function. Button b1 is equal to button. So we have packed three buttons on the window. So three, we have used a pack a geometric manager method to pack the buttons onto the widget window. Moving on to next slide. Binding function. In from the Tinker import all, we have imported the required libraries. Then we have created a window. A tool is equal to tk root dot geometric is our size of the window. It is fixed in a with a 200 x 100. Define this is a function. If event is given to the function, enter. Then button pressed is printed in the console. Button pressed x at x. So in this in this program, frame function of frame is defined. When we take our mouse pointer on the frame, so we are declaring a frame. Then find bind method is used to pass the uh, argument to the frame, binding the frame onto the window. Then uh, enter. Here the enter is our function, and exit and root is our function. Pack dot pack. We have uh, packed the frame to the window. and main loop keeps our application running, reading the images with Tinker. So we can even render images on the Tinker window using PIL library. The OS library module is also imported. Root is equal to TK. Here the we are creating a window. It is easy to create a window. Image is equal to image TK. Photo image dot open. Here are GFG graphics is printed. So moving on to the next slide, we have advanced what advanced we advanced meant we can do with the Tinker uh, possibilities, getting in screen height and widget with using Tinker, how to dynamically change the text of a text button, set the focus on the desired widget, search string in the Tinker text, autocomplete combo box in Python Tinker, and many more. Moving on to our next slide. Thank you.